In the school locker room, things heat up between them. Teenage hormones ready to explode. A pregnant girl walks into school with her belly showing, ignoring the whispers around her. Even when she passes the guy who got her into this mess, she doesn't spare him a single glance. The jerk doesn't care. He's already got his eyes on fresh prey. Nano, the new transfer student. To get close to Nano, Alex kicks his deskmate's chair over and declares, "This seat's empty." The stunt gets a few laughs, but the teacher ignores it all and seats Nano elsewhere. His deskmate crawls back and mocks Alex for wasting his effort. Alex fires back, calling him a forever alone loser, then adds confidently, "If I can make her laugh, I've won." His antics do catch Nano's attention. The girl next to her whispers a warning, "Stay away from Alex. He's gotten tons of girls pregnant." Nano smiles knowingly. "Then, I just won't get pregnant." The girl assumes she's dealing with another love-struck fool and gives up trying. What she doesn't know is that Nano has already set her trap for this player. In just half a day, Nano and Alex are all over each other, sharing lunch like a couple. Meanwhile, a vulgar betting pool quietly takes shape. Everyone's placing bets on when Nano will give it up. The gossip mill runs wild, and the stakes keep climbing. Watching how forward Nano acts, everyone figures it's a done deal. When they bump into each other in the bathroom, Linda, one of Alex's exes, tries to warn Nano about the betting pool. Nano just asks, "How long did it take him to hook you?" Linda says she just doesn't want another victim. Nano responds, "If you think you're a victim, then you are." Linda walks away, defeated. Watching her leave, something meaningful flashes in Nano's eyes. In the school locker room, things heat up between them. Teenage hormones ready to explode. When Alex shows up with telltale marks, his deskmate is amazed. He broke his own record, 3 days, 3 hours, and 33 minutes to bag the hottest girl in school. Everyone's eager to settle the bet, but just as they're getting antsy, Nano appears out of nowhere and actually asks them to announce the results. Turns out there's only one person who bet correctly, Nano herself. She grins as she collects all the money, then leans close to Alex, who just walked in, taunting, "Look who got played." Alex is clueless about what's coming. A few days later, his body starts acting up, and he can't even handle getting physical anymore. Frustrated, he tries to break up with Nano. She pretends to cry and beg, but 2 minutes later breaks into maniacal laughter, leaning in to warn him. The torture's just beginning. Alex is confused, but soon his body takes a bizarre turn. In the shower, he discovers his genitals shrinking while his belly starts to swell. His ex-girlfriend screams and runs when she sees him. All he can do is hide the changes under a thick jacket, brushing off his parents' concern with excuses. The next day, a pale-faced Alex drags himself to class. The smell of his deskmate's snacks sends him rushing to the window to throw up. Finally, he sneaks off to the hospital for tests. The results are beyond belief. The doctor delivers the news. "You're pregnant." Alex is stunned, thinking the doctor has lost his mind. He stares at the ultrasound screen in disbelief. There's clearly a baby's outline. When he feels sudden movement in his belly, he has no choice but to accept reality. Rumors about his body's transformation spread like wildfire through school. Unable to handle the harassment, his pent-up emotions explode. He rips open his jacket and screams in front of everyone, "I'm not sick, I'm pregnant." Nano films the entire scene and the video goes viral. The mockery from his classmates intensifies. Everyone thinks he's getting exactly what he deserves. To protect its reputation, the school revokes Alex's student council president candidacy. His reputation destroyed, he hides in a rental room, staring at magazines and reminiscing about his former glory days. When his parents learn the truth, they berate him harshly and throw money at him to deal with the problem. Tortured by severe morning sickness, he swallows pills trying to abort, only to vomit blood. The baby remains unharmed. The sins he committed are now consuming him from within. Disguised, he confronts Nano for answers but gets ignored. On his way back, he runs into his ex Linda. Alex breaks down crying and apologizing, but Linda calmly says she's moved on. "I'll take good care of my child." With nowhere left to turn, Alex decides on surgical abortion. When he wakes up, the doctor hands him a full-term baby. Want to get rid of it? Do it yourself. Facing his own flesh and blood, he can't bring himself to do it. He's forced to take on the role of mother. When Nano comes to visit, Alex actually begs her to get back together and start a family. Nano smirks, sets down a gift, and walks away. This judgment of a player has reached its conclusion. As Satan's daughter, she heads to the next school, searching for the next soul consumed by desire. The principal questioned Nano, asking why she introduced such a vulgar software to her friends. However, Nano didn't see it that way. She argued that precisely because the chat partners were completely anonymous, it was easier to see their true colors. Interactions between students might become more genuine. Seeing that the principal was still incredibly worried, Nano made a suggestion. Since everything was already completely anonymous, the teachers could also blend in and monitor the students' chat content. After all, the school network's backend could access all the students' account passwords. Even if any rule-breaking behavior was discovered, it could be stopped immediately, preventing students from going astray. After some persuasion, the principal agreed with Nano's viewpoint and registered an anonymous account for herself. Soon after, she successfully matched with someone. Seeing that someone actually responded to her sent messages, the principal couldn't help but open up under the protection of anonymity. It turned out that the reason she was so old-fashioned and dogmatic was that during her high school years, her best friend had been hurt by a scumbag. Her friend accidentally got pregnant and was forced to have an abortion, which cost her her life. With her friend's lesson in mind, she made it her mission to become a teacher and protect every innocent schoolgirl to the best of her ability. The undercover plan was effective. She processed a batch of students according to the list of violations, and demanded that from then on, even the teaching buildings for boys and girls should be completely separated. However, this behavior also exposed the fact that the principal herself was using anonymous chat. Seeing that the time was right, Nano decided to push further and completely intensify the conflict between the two sides. She stopped in front of a classroom door, claiming there were strange noises inside. Upon hearing this, the principal opened the door without a word, grabbed a broom, and rushed in, beating the boy until his head was bleeding. Seeing the injured student, the principal panicked a little. Sure enough, the principal found out about this incident. Although the principal's intentions weren't wrong, at the time of the incident, the two people were only picking up an eraser. To avoid being complained about by the parents, the principal angrily wanted to fire the dean on the spot. The school also resumed mixed-gender teaching. The principal couldn't help but fall into contemplation. Could it be that she was really wrong? At the school-wide assembly, the principal decided to share some heartfelt words with the students before leaving her position. She still insisted that interactions between male and female students should be kept at a distance, and that dating could wait until they entered society. At this moment, Nano suddenly took out her phone and removed the anonymity setting in the program. The students' attention was instantly captured as they busied themselves searching for their soulmates from the past period. The principal also took out her phone to check and realized that the anonymous online friend who had been encouraging and comforting her all along was actually the vice principal who had always supported her over the years. Even more unexpectedly, the vice principal took this opportunity to confess her feelings in public. The principal was so shocked that she pushed her away, thinking that since they were both women, how could there be so-called love between them? However, the vice principal said that love is the feeling of warmth welling up in your heart, and being with the person you like will make you very happy. Moved by the vice principal's passionate words, the principal vaguely saw her best friend appear before her eyes again. Her friend also hoped that she would let go of her past grievances and find her own happiness. In the end, she accepted the vice principal's confession, and the shackles that had been placed on the students were finally broken. Due to the principal's sudden realization, Nano also didn't continue her judgment and withdrew with her mission accomplished. Although from the students' perspective, the principal's actions were indeed excessively harsh and unreasonable, from the principal's standpoint, her desire to protect the students was beyond reproach. The innocent feelings of adolescents do indeed need proper guidance to prevent going astray. As students, in addition to the inherent knowledge in textbooks, learning how to protect oneself in interpersonal interactions is also a crucial lesson. On the first day of school, a senior demanded that freshmen strip in public. One female student smiled slightly at this request, removed her name tag, and slowly unbuttoned her uniform. Seeing how cooperative she was, the senior turned his attention to the next girl. His ego was inflated like never before, and he soon ordered all the freshmen to remove their shirts, even taking photos with his phone as souvenirs. The reason he could act so brazenly was because Thai schools have an unwritten tradition: freshmen must show absolute obedience to their seniors. To assert his dominance, Jack, the student council president, treated the freshmen to a feast of insects. The freshmen were nauseated at the sight, but under pressure from their seniors, they had no choice but to swallow their pride and comply. Finding the freshmen's discomfort amusing but wanting more, Jack rolled out his carefully planned game. He ordered all freshmen to get on all fours, connecting head to tail to mimic a human centipede, claiming it would build their sense of unity. At this moment, Nano in the crowd couldn't help but burst out laughing. She said, "This isn't unity, this is sexual harassment." Talking back to a senior at a time like this was considered an unforgivable sin. When one person made a mistake, everyone had to share the punishment. After a series of humiliations, the first day's ceremony finally ended. Unexpectedly, the principal showed up with a video of the human centipede incident. A girl walked into the school. All the colors around her instantly turned black and white because the school's rules were extremely strict. If a teacher discovered any other color, the consequences would be unimaginably cruel. On the very first day of school, A lipstick fell out of Nano's bag. The girl next to her quickly picked it up for her, thankfully before the teacher noticed. At that moment, the discipline director suddenly rushed into the classroom, announcing a random bag inspection. Nano showed clear resistance, claiming this was an invasion of personal privacy. The director violently snatched her bag, dumping out every item to assert her authority over Nano. "Now have I made myself clear to you?" "Yeah." Satisfied by her answer, the director left. But as soon as she stepped out of the room, Nano immediately took out her lipstick and applied it to her lips. At lunchtime, a female classmate warned Nano that any students who refused to cooperate with school discipline would face a terrible fate. Not long ago, a girl in their class merely corrected the teacher's mistake and was beaten on the head with a blackboard eraser until she bled. A male student tried to record the incident as evidence, but was also caught. The two of them were locked in the repentance room together and were never seen again. Nano was instantly intrigued. She began wondering how she could get in there herself. Just then, the discipline director came to inspect the cafeteria. Her eyes immediately caught sight of the bright red lipstick on Nano's lips. Since Nano was a new transfer student, the director decided to show leniency, ordering her to stand in the playground and memorize all 427 school rules. But Nano had no intention of obeying. She placed the rulebook on her head, waving to everyone across the campus. The crowd stared in surprise. Then she began loudly reciting the rules, mocking their contents with open contempt. Students thought she had gone mad. Student council members hurried to call the director. Nano proudly pulled out a lighter and burned the outdated, absurd rulebook in public. "I read through the book of rules. In all 427, none of them say that I can't set fire to the book of rules." The director was furious and immediately locked Nano in the repentance room. Inside, the previous two students were still held. The director asked whether they had learned their lesson. The girl quickly apologized, begging to be set free, but the boy stubbornly insisted that he had done nothing wrong and would rather transfer schools. The director threatened to put him on the academic blacklist, which would prevent him from enrolling in any school again. The boy became frightened and finally lowered his head to admit fault. The two walked out of the repentance room in defeat, and Nano was put inside to take their place. School rules looped endlessly in her ears, but she only found them laughable. She decided to take a good nap instead. Back in her office, the director stared at the confiscated lipstick. She was tempted to try it on, but the next second, a student council member burst through the door. Nano had escaped from the repentance room and was now rallying the class to resist school regulations. The director rushed back to the classroom, planting a pack of cigarettes in Nano's pocket and accusing her in front of everyone. Then she locked her up again. Floodlights on every wall flashed endlessly at Nano, attempting to break her spirit. But the next day, Nano returned to class completely unharmed, now sporting rebellious purple hair. She had become the student's spiritual leader. The director, fuming at the door, locked her in the repentance room yet again, demanding to know what she really wanted. Nano said she wanted the director to admit her mistakes. The director scoffed at such a ridiculous idea, and with pliers, ripped out Nano's tongue, preventing her from bewitching the others any further. The director thought she had finally won, but in reality, she had already fallen into Nano's trap. This school doesn't care about grades. It's all about looks. They even have a beauty ranking system, and if you make it into the top 10, the school rewards you with a free villa to live in and gourmet meals whenever you want. Students can check the latest rankings on their phones anytime. Nano is the new transfer student. The moment she steps onto campus, a tree branch scratches her face. The teacher seats her next to Emma, who holds the 10th spot on the rankings. Everyone calls her Princess 10. Emma is super friendly to her new classmate and becomes even friendlier when she notices the cut on Nano's face. After school, Emma gives Nano a tour of the villa, the princess quarters reserved exclusively for the top 10. Regular students can only enter by invitation from a princess. The place is loaded with luxury food and drinks, with servants waiting on them hand and foot. Emma tells Nano to make the most of this opportunity and eat as much as she can. Nano just smiles, not taking it seriously. She pulls out some chocolate from her pocket and starts eating, sharing half with Emma. Then this chubby girl barges in. She's Emma's friend. Emma used to bring her in to eat, but not today. The girl was so desperate for the food that she crashed the party on her own. Emma pretends to be nice and shares some cake with her. Even when security shows up, the girl keeps stuffing her face with cake. Emma makes it clear that this girl will never qualify to live here. Nano doesn't say anything, but she's taking it all in. With the sound of bells, the #1 princess Olivia makes her entrance. She's the center of attention wherever she goes. But Nano says, "I actually think you're prettier than Olivia." Emma denies it out loud, but she's already fantasizing about it in her head. Emma returns the compliment, telling Nano she's actually pretty cute herself. She insists on using this app that measures beauty levels to test Nano. When she sees the results, Emma's face drops. Nano ranks 11th, just one spot behind her. And this is with Nano's face still injured. Emma immediately feels threatened. The next day, Emma discovers she's dropped from 10th to 11th place. Worse, she's got a pimple on her nose. It's just one rank, but her life takes a nosedive. Now Nano is number 10, surrounded by girls trying to suck up to her. Emma suspects yesterday's chocolate was the problem. Maybe this is all part of Nano's scheme. Nano tries to comfort her, saying once the pimple clears up, her ranking will definitely bounce back. She tugs at her collar, complaining that this Princess 10 tie is really uncomfortable to wear. Without her princess title, Emma has to eat gross cafeteria food with the regular students, use the filthy bathrooms, and deal with everyone making fun of her. Meanwhile, Nano finds the chubby girl, and they seem to be plotting something. Desperate to end this nightmare, Emma tries every acne treatment she can find. A few days later, her pimple disappears and she's back at number 10. She can't wait to tell the world she's back on top, but her victory is short-lived. Another girl pushes her out of 10th place, and she's back to 11th again, just as security is about to kick Emma out. Nano steps in to save her. She even invites Emma to swing with her. But a dark thought creeps into Emma's mind. If she can't make herself prettier, why not make everyone else uglier? She offers to push Nano on the swing, but each push gets harder and harder. The swing spins out of control, and Nano faceplants hard on the ground. Emma rushes over, pretending to be concerned. Nano's face is completely messed up, all bruised and swollen. Emma checks the rankings. She's back at number 10. She's so thrilled she completely forgets about Nano lying unconscious on the ground. After Emma leaves, Nano opens her eyes and smiles. From then on, Emma completely loses herself to her desires. She goes after every girl ranked above her. She throws a cat into someone's shower. She puts ants on someone's towel to cause an allergic reaction. While someone's sleeping, she shaves off their eyebrows. She spikes someone's water with hair growth formula, turning them into a werewolf. Emma's ranking keeps climbing, and soon she's number 2. Only Olivia stands in her way. Emma secretly swaps out her face cream, and Olivia's skin turns green. The other girls at school start copying these tactics to improve their rankings. There isn't a single normal-looking girl left in the entire school. Even Nano, with her scarred face, has climbed to 3rd place. The day of the annual Shining Star competition arrives. Olivia, now ranked 2nd, gets into a physical fight with Emma trying to reclaim 1st place. Emma ends up with bite marks bleeding on her face. At the competition venue, all the former beauties look absolutely bizarre. The principal quietly sighs. This is the ugliest class he's ever had. Emma, despite her injuries, is still confident she'll win 1st place. But to everyone's shock, the winner is a girl no one recognizes. Everyone's confused until she starts her acceptance speech. Even more shocking, it's the chubby girl after losing weight. She thanks everyone, saying it was their help that made her number 1. Emma is too furious to speak. All her efforts were for nothing. Good looks definitely have their advantages, but when you obsess over appearances, you end up losing yourself completely.